Hey guys, it's Elaine, the Ninja Life Coach, and welcome to my channel today. Today, we're just going to have a little Gab Sesh. So sit back, grab yourselves a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Hey everybody, I'm back and I have on the Uniwigs Lisa that I just did a review on, and this is in chocolate caramel. And I decided I was going to wear her today, and I just wanted to, show you guys this wig again. I've really come to enjoy her. I just have her pushed behind my ears. And today I want to just kind of tell you guys some things that's kind of going on in my life and what has happened. Some of you may or may not know that I have been an insurance agent in the East Tennessee area for 20 years. My late husband and I had this agency, and we worked for a lot of years to build it up to where it was. We worked very hard to build that agency. And the beginning of last year, I made the decision to close my office and get a virtual office, because I really was spending less and less time in the office, because just about everything that you do anymore is done online. And I thought, well, that's an expense that I can save. I can work virtually, and I can contact my clients online, and I can, meet them. I can go to their home if I need to pick something up or something of that nature. And folks, let's face it, things are just going that way. So no problem with the home office. There was nothing, that prohibited me doing that. And so I made the steps to do that. And everything was going fairly fine. And some of you may have know that my mom passed away at the end of the year last year. Well, at the beginning of the year, I guess it was probably around February, March, I get a message from my boss. And he said, I need to have a meeting with you and a few other agents. So we went in, and a long story short, they told us that we were not on track to meet the company standards for the year, which I knew that because my mom had been ill, and I had been back and forth a lot to the assisted living facility. And I, at that time, told them what was going on. And of course, everything, at that time was like, oh, do what you need to do. Go take care of it. You got to take care of your mom. You got to do all this stuff. And I was like, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, long story short, over the course of the year, I had to spend more and more time taking care of my mother. And I was able to spend less time on my business than I had in the past. So consequently, at the end of the year last year, I did not meet company standards. Now, that's the first time I have failed to do that. And so the company decided at the end of the year that they were not going to renew my contract. So as of yesterday, March 31st, I am no longer an insurance agent with the company that I represented, because I no longer have my contract. Now, this not only happened to me, but it happened to a couple of other agents that live here in this area. So company-wide, I don't know how many, but there were quite a few. And I will happily take the blame for what I am responsible for. And I did not make the production. I didn't. I feel like I had a good reason, and I feel like that the company just kind of was like, oh, well, you've got to take care of your mom. You got to do this. You got to do that. And they gave me absolutely no help. They did not help me. They didn't do anything. They didn't follow up with anything they told me they were going to do. They just didn't do it. So at the end of the year, they told me they weren't going to renew my contract. Well, my boss told me, he said, you need to just go ahead and write them a letter, tell them what all happened, explain it step by step. And he said, I think we can get them to make an exception. And so, long story short, they did not make an exception, nor did they make an exception for one of the other ladies whose husband is very, very ill and is a Vietnam veteran. So in the midst of all this situation with the coronavirus and everything, we were kind of hoping that they would keep us on and let us service our clients for at least another month, rather than just throwing them to, a new agent right away. But as it turned out, they're not going to allow us to do that because they just don't want to. So my point of telling you this is not for sour grapes at the company, although I can tell you there was plenty of that right at first. There really was. I was angry, very, very angry that a business I had worked at for 20 years was getting, taken away from me right like that. And it made me feel almost like that 20 years of my life was just wasted with this company. But after I had time to reflect on it and think about it and pray about it, I really believe that this is something that God wanted me to do. And I really feel like that this is something that God had wanted me to do actually the year prior to that. I really felt like the Lord was leading me out of that. I wanted to wait for another year because of, financial reasons, but for some reason, I don't think God wanted me to wait for another year. So it is what it is. And this is what I have. And this is what I've been dealing with for the last 6 to 8 months. And some of you know my mom passed away in December. And, that was tough to deal with as well. But I have to say that through all this and through all the disruption, through all the anger, through all the me working my way through that and not wanting to retaliate, through every bit of this, God has taken care of me. And when I have been frustrated, when I've been flustered, when I've been upset, He has met me right where I'm at. And I have been able to talk with Him, work my way through it, and just have felt that peace about the situation. Now, what I'm going to be doing from here on out is I'm going to devote, most of my time is going to be devoted to building my Mary Kay business. And I believe that that's where I need to go right now. Now, I'm not going to be bold enough to say that's where I'm going to be for the rest of my life, because I don't know that. I've learned to not make statements like that. I don't know what God's going to even have me to do tomorrow. But as of right now, it looks like that's where God has me and what He wants me to do. So I'm going to try my best to work it as best as I can. I don't believe this is going to affect the channel. If it affects the channel in any way, it's going to be that I'm going to have a little bit more time to devote to making my videos and talking with you guys. And I'm hoping that this will draw our community even closer, and this will help grow this channel, because I want the main focus of this channel to be motivating to you guys and to keep on with what I believe in, staying with the horse, as my dad used to say, stay with the horse that brung you. And I believe staying with the horse that brought me here. And the horse that brought me here was the talking, about life coaching on the Motivational Mondays and the makeup and wigs. And I am intending on staying with that to the best of my ability. I'm going to try my best to stay with it. And, as you guys know, with wigs, it's either feast or famine. Right now, I have no wigs. I've just reviewed 5, and now I have none. So the next few weeks will be probably devoted to like wig care and doing things with wigs and things of that nature. So I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what's going on in my life and let you know that no matter how bad the circumstances are, and this is going to be quite a big income change for me, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay because God's going to take care of me. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I am a little bit looking at it kind of like, okay, but it's okay. God has this, and I know God has me. God has brought me through so much in my life, and He'll bring me through this. And He has already brought me this far to be able to sit here and say, I trust God in this situation. That's a big deal from where I was this time last year with all this, because I was really angry last year, and I was really angry on up through December of last year. But I'm not okay with the situation because I think the situation was wrong. And I think that what the company did was wrong because there are a lot of extenuating circumstances that I just can't talk about here on this video. But let's suffice it to say that even in the midst of those extenuating circumstances, the company chose to do something that I feel was incorrect. But I can't let that make me angry and bitter. You know, after my husband died, his best friend came to me and he said some words to me that I will never forget. And he said, Elaine, it was at the meal after we had just buried him. And we were at my church. My church had prepared a meal for us. And I was throwing away my food and I was walking back to my table and he came up to me and he said, I want to tell you something now. And I said, okay. And he said, I want you to know that I have seen a lot of widows, when they lose their husband, they become bitter, old, dried up widow women. And that's exactly what he said, widow. He said, don't become an old, bitter, dried up widow woman, because that's what we call them down here in the South, widow woman. He said, don't do that. He said, you have a lot of life left in you, girl. He said, you go do what God has for you to do, and do not let this stop you. You live your life to the full. And I was not in a good place at that time. I mean, we had just buried my husband, and I wasn't in a good place to receive that. But I've thought about that a lot since then. And this is one of those times where I have an opportunity to either be bitter or I can be better. So I choose better. But it does mean that whatever I decide to do from this point on, I can do it with grace, joy, peace, and comfort from the Holy Spirit. And I do not have to be afraid about what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, so I have Trixie here. She started barking in the middle of my outro here. So what I was going to say was, in the middle of this pandemic and in the midst of everything that we're going through, I don't believe anything happens by happenstance. God is not surprised at anything that happens to us. He already knows. He knows things, you know. He knows these things. So he knew this pandemic was going to happen. He knew that I was going to lose my contract. He knew these things. This is not something new to God. He knew it already. So in the midst of all this, in the midst of it, I'm going to encourage you to, whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever it is that you're troubled about, to take that and turn it over to God and let Him take care of that for you. I know times are tough. I know times are hard. I know times are scary and they're uncertain. But if we just rely on God during this time, we will make it through it. We will make it through it. Listen, you guys, hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. Love you guys. Maranatha.